Okay guys, what up? In this video I want to talk about Climax. Uh, Climax are basically breakout bars at the end of a trend. Generally, when you see a breakout at the end of a trend, we call it exhaustion gap, and when we see it at the beginning of a trend or early in a trend, we call it measuring gap. So what do we mean by gap? Okay, for example, check this out. If you look close enough, you see this. There's some kind of a resistance at this area, and then this bar happened and closed below this resistance, below this support area. Sorry. So there is a gap between this the close of this candle and this shit area. So we have a gap, but it's obvious that we had a bull trend here, or you can draw it like this. You had a bull trend here, and when you have a bear breakout below bull trend, this gap is the measuring gap, and if you see a strong follow-throughs after this breakout, you expect to see a second leg after that. So this is your first leg and this is your second leg after this round pattern. I talked about that before. Round patterns are endless pullbacks and these tiny teeny bodies, and after that we have another breakout below this below this area, below this pullback, whatever, and this is a measuring gap 2. So they are all measuring gaps, and we went in a pullback, another breakout below this and this is a measuring gap 2. So they are all measuring gaps, the breakout bars below these areas, support and resistance areas. How about this one? Okay, this one is an exhaustion gap. Why is that? Okay, we had this area, this resistance, and this candle, this big candle. It should be big enough, and some call it okay, the climax should be more than 10 or 20 last candles, more than last 20 or 10 candles. So if we consider this as a climax, after that we had this and after all we had this reversal. This one is a measuring or exhaustion. This one is a measuring because we have two legs. I don't know. And let's see other examples. Another example could be this one. Here we had this support area, but we have a breakout. this one we consider this as a measuring gap, but after that we had this reversal. This candle is exhaustion because we had this channel after this trading range after that. So when you see bear candles or bull candles creating trend, we call them climax, and the psychology reason for that is bears or bull, the dominant side of the market, they try to take the last profit, and after that they take the last take the best use of this shit, and they wanna take every single profit they can, and after that we usually see a trading range because they take profit, so it makes sense if we see a trading range like this one after this big bars. Okay, other examples. This one is a measuring because after this resistance at the beginning of a trend, of a new trend if you call it, or whatever, above this resistance it happened, we expect to see a first leg and second leg after that. This one, it's definitely a climax, exhaustion gap, and after this kind of big large long bars, we expect to see a take profit. Bulls, they take profit and they become more cautious. This one is exhaustion because we had this bear trend already, and when you see this shit, we expect a change in direction. After that, it's rare that you see instant reversal. It's usually before reversal we have a trading range. In this transition, we expect to see a trading range before trend resumption. This one. When you see a consecutive climax, it means that bulls are in charge, and when you see small pullbacks at the same time, small pullbacks, and this consecutive climaxes, you can conclude that okay, bulls are in charge, and bears they don't have power, that much power. But after all, it happens, and you have an exhaustion gap, and after that changing power, you know. This one as a climax above this level, above this resistance. This one, and after that reversal. This one is a measuring gap because you know, the start of this shit happened, and first leg and second leg. I think that would be enough for now. So if I wanna summarize some of these concepts I talk about, first of all, we have generally two kinds of gap bars. First is the measuring gap and exhaustion gap. We see measuring gap at the start or early in a trend, and exhaustion gap at the end of a trend, late in a trend. When you have a measuring gap, obviously you expect to see two legs up or two legs down if it's a bearish trend. And exhaustion gap, you expect to see a trendy range because the trend is ended and the dominant side of the market, they take their profit. And we also have parabolic climax or consecutive climax, which you see several climax in a trend, and it tells you that bears, they don't bulls, they don't wanna sell at this point and they wanna go up, and bears, they don't see here as a fair price to sell, and after all at this point eventually they start to sell and sell short, sell short. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any suggestions, share it with me. Goodbye.